situations with abuse. Why is it so hard to get out? The victims in these violent situations of abuse may end up blaming themselves for the violence they suffer. This can make it difficult for them to get out of the relationship. Situations of abuse are still a big problem in our daily lives. We often read about women who have been murdered by their partners or ex-partners because they could not escape their abusive relationships. Sometimes people attack their former partners, yet the victim goes back to them again and again. Or they never manage to get out of the relationship. Why? This is something that is hard for many people to understand, and they like to blame the victim. It is common to hear, if he has hurt you so much, why are you going back or staying with him? The reality is not so simple. These women are not actually guilty. In fact, there are many reasons why it is difficult to leave an abusive situation. Keep reading to learn why and maybe help someone in situations of abuse. Read 5 Types of Verbal Aggression. This irrational need to determine, control and have power over another person is the main reason that leads to domestic violence. Lewis Rogers Marcos. Emotional dependence and abuse. When you are in a relationship, you need to feel loved by the other person. So how do we define emotional addiction? It is an extreme need for love from the partner that gives birth to the other person's obsessions and constant feelings of abandonment. This can cause a woman to behave submissively so that she does not lose her partner. She ends up prioritizing her partner above everything and everyone, including herself, and idealizes him. This leads her to focus only on his good qualities, although there aren't many, and cover up his cruelty and aggression. She also accepts the aggressive partner's belief that he is the superior one. This ties into the fear of breaking up. That fear then causes separation anxiety, which causes the victim to think that the worst that can happen is that the relationship will end and she will end up alone. So she does everything she can to prevent this. This goes deeper if the abuse is consistent, because the aggressive partner often feels upset and tries to make amends with the damage he has caused. We fear violence less than our feelings. Personal, private, lonely pain is scarier than what anyone else can inflict. Jim Morrison. It's my fault. The victims in these violent situations of abuse may end up blaming themselves for the violence they suffer. In the mindset where a woman assumes that her partner is kind and caring, there is no room to accept his violent behavior. So when that happens, the victim looks for a reason and usually sees themselves as the reason. Therefore, these women do not see themselves as victims, but instead feel guilty or responsible. What happens is that the relationship has terrible, scary aggression, then good moments that give a sense of relief. In this scenario, the victim will usually do everything to do the latter more often. She will do it, even if it means she ends up burying herself deeper and deeper. See also 9 Signs of Psychological Manipulation Through Words. Other reasons why women stay in situations of abuse. There is another factor that stops a victim from leaving an abusive relationship: low self-esteem. She sees herself as someone who can't do things right or as a worthless person. This is something that the abuser tells her. "You're worthless" is a frequent phrase when it comes to verbal abuse. But the abuser does not just use physical or psychological violence against his victim. It is also common for a man to get rid of a woman's social support. This isolation makes her even more dependent on the abused. The ultimate goal of this strategy is to ensure that the victim has no one to talk to or ask for help. Another form of abuse is learned helplessness. Little by little, the victim begins to lose much of her power and freedom, so she ends up believing that there's nothing she can do to escape. Then desperation takes over and she won't be able to see a way out. Abuse is any behavior designed to control and or subjugate another person through the use of fear, humiliation, and verbal or physical abuse. Susan Forward,